Instagram, yeah. But it's coming on the YouTube. Feel like okay, yes. So, national conference, second national conference is going to begin now. Thank you for coming. We're going to basically do it this way because we're having a problem with the projection system. I don't know if you can read it. These are pretty big words, but later on it might get harder. It'll be like a vision test. But I'll talk about it, and I don't know which is worse, but we'll see. So we actually covered the history of Indian Ultimate last time, and I've actually used the same historical slides, and I just changed the dates on it. But we're not going to go into super detail, which JD did, and if you want to catch up on that, we need to catch up on that. We'll basically go over it, one-on-one with me. If you want to know more and you want to actually see it, then it's available on the YouTube channel. What I'm going to do is just update that history. So last time we had the conference was in February 2018. So it's been a year plus, and there have been some significant changes in Indian Ultimate. Just want to kind of start out with remembering folks that we lost in this year. Bharat, Bharat Ashoka was a member of Bangalore's community and dear friend of mine, as well as for a lot of us. He passed away last year, and two other young people from Assam, Babul Roy and Vidyamurti Basumatari. These are young ultimate players from Assam. They passed away as well a couple of months ago. So I just wanted to kind of, as much as we are growing as a community, we're going to have ups and downs, and these are some of the downs, and I want to just recognize that. Since then we've done a lot of things since February 2018, and we'll be going over some of that now. Yeah. So I'm just going to skip slides to all of this. Was what JD covered last year. He went over the timeline of Indian Ultimate when it started back in 2003-04 as a game to excite children in Ahmedabad until where we were in 2018. And some of the notable people from Indian Ultimate, he covered that. He talked about the Flying Disc Federation, which was kind of a rival organization to the UPAI, and how that matter got resolved. Then he mentioned all the WIFTF events, places where we have put India on the map of international ultimate, and then talked a little bit about how the UPAI works and the path ahead. And he also listed the Piyush Vaghela Award winners. The Piyush Vaghela Award is a community service award that is instituted by the UPAI in honor of Piyush Vaghela, who is another ultimate player who passed away back in 2012. And he was a coach, and so he gave a lot back to the Ahmedabad community. And so this award is in his memory. And so I just go over the latest Piyush Vaghela Award winner, whose name is Anish Mukherjee. And he, after finishing his Gandhi Fellowship, he learned a little bit of ultimate from JD himself. And he went to Assam and introduced ultimate there. And as a result, we have, since that time, we have over 4,000 ultimate players from Assam, which is kind of like literally half our playing population. So we awarded that to him earlier this year at Nationals. So that was the Piyush Vaghela Award. Citation is here, yeah. So Anish Mukherjee is 2019's Piyush Vaghela Community Award winner. The path ahead is kind of I told you it'll be hard to read, but I'll read it out for you. So the path ahead was a slide from JD's presentation last year, and where he kind of, his own thoughts. If people who don't know, JD was the co-founder of UPI, and he was the first president from 2013 to 2015. And these are his thoughts as to when we took stock at the first inaugural conference of the UPI in 2018 in February. He kind of looked ahead and said, "Oh, these are some of the things that are in my mind as to what the UPA will be doing for the next year." And so I'm just repeating the slide and kind of giving you an update from that slide. So first is, how can we maintain spirit ranking and still excel on the field? So, I mean, I can go on and on about that, but we have the spirit chairs here, the spirit committee's chairpersons, Abhinav and Chia are here, and they'll be talking about it. And you get to know more about the state of spirit and spirit of the game here in India so far, and what steps are being taken to make it better. The next thing that he questioned was, what is the plan to equalize skill levels for women and men? I think lots of things have happened, but what is exciting, I think the next solid step is we're going to send a women's team for the under 20 World Championships, the World Junior Championship that's going to happen in Sweden next year. So we feel like women of the under 20 age group will be the future kind of building blocks of Indian Ultimate in terms of mixed ultimate, as well as kind of bringing on par men and women in terms of skill level. So that's exciting news. So that's kind of a step forward for us. The trials are going to happen in the next couple of months, and the team should get ready after that. And we think we may have already secured some interested partners who are willing to fund the team. So it's exciting. We have people who are interested in coaching, people who are interested in managing. I'm interested in managing. These are some of the updates for how to bring women and men's skill development on par. The next question was, this was kind of like, it's a dated question. So at that time, we were on the path to doing our second national tour. If you guys remember, we had a national tour in 2017, which went from January to December without a off season. But at the time of this conference in February last year, we still were going to do that. We're going to have a national tour in 2018. But then we kind of changed directions kind of dramatically, and decided to ditch the tour and went to like a traditional format of sectionals, regionals, and nationals, which we thought would be ambitious, but we can do it. So we did that, as you all know, maybe remember painfully. So we had a whole bunch of tournaments, and it was pretty exciting. National Championship Series Season 1 was completed with a lot of people playing, and we'll be talking a little bit about that in an update. The next question that he posed to the community was, can we do better with coaching and financing the growth in India? I have an emoji here which is like, we don't know, you can't see it, but yeah, we'll be talking more about partnerships and coaching in an update soon. Is it possible to streamline processes within the UPI? It's a work in progress. Exciting thing is we now have 2 employees who are paid, they're professional, they're working for Ultimate, and that's super exciting, and I think that's going to streamline processes for sure. Will India split the community into recreational community and like elite serious Ultimate, call it serious Ultimate? I think recreation can be serious too, you can be serious about having fun. But recreational, I think, is still in its preliminary stages. But the exciting thing is we are in Bangalore, and Bangalore has a recreational scene, and it's super exciting. You'll see some of them tonight. They have managed to create a big enough community in Bangalore which is not crazy about club teams, not crazy about doing drills. They just want to come and play and make friends, maybe get a beer, or maybe kids don't do that, but Yeah, so they just want to hang out and play Ultimate, right? So with a lot of kids, parents, they come and hang out nearby. We're going to go there tonight if you're going to be around. You'll see really cool, you know, Ultimate under the lights in the PFC Stadium. And some of our coaches are going to try to bring in some structure. Hopefully still keep all the fun portion intact. So that's recreational, which hopefully will spread to the rest of the country, which I think is massively important. The last thing is, what about other disc sports? So I have an emoji which says no. So only Ultimate, guys. So we haven't done much other disc sports. I think maybe less than recreationally, maybe when people are not in their senses, they might have played other disc sports, maybe some disc golf in India, but I've not heard of anybody doing it in an organized fashion. And if anyone's interested in doing that, please come and talk to us. Dr. Richa back there, send an email to her, info@indiaultimate.org, and she'll be able to put you in touch. So this is Jamie's path ahead slide from 2018, which I told you can't read it. What else has happened since then? So we're going to go segue quickly into an update from the different committees and what we've done so far. Okay. I need to change files for me. We still can't see much. Any questions so far with the historical update? Any questions about the things that I didn't cover, like from before 2018? Anybody has? Everyone knows the history. I'll quiz you guys after this. When was UPI, or actually right now, while this thing is loading up, when was UPI incorporated? Anybody knows? In the 90s? 2012. I mean, 2012. Abhinav was, you can't answer Abhinav. He was one of the founders, so that's unfair. But yeah, 2012 it was incorporated. We got the papers, and then we promptly lost them, and we had to find them again after many years in 2015. But 2012 we got incorporated as a registered society, and that's what we are right now. And in 2013 we had our first elections in BO right here in Bangalore. Jaideep was the first president. There was no other candidate, and that's how he won. Now you know. And anybody remembers the other people?
Yeah.
Arjun Lal, Dushyant, and Boone. Yeah, they were the executive board. We had a pretty unbalanced executive board then. But so yeah, they were the executive board for 2 years. Then after that you got us. I don't know if it's a good thing, but we're going to have... Right.
And now you guys
have us, yeah. So VP, Mai, Meghna, and me, we are the current executive board. You'll see some more data soon. We still don't have the projection, and maybe you can see it online later if you're interested, or you can see it on the conference drive, which we will share with everyone. Or maybe you can try to come closer and see it. But we have some videos. We'll show that. Might be hard to see, but yeah. So the UPI is kind of the structure that we're following right now is with 3 bodies. So the national governing body is the UPI. So we govern the sport in India, and it has 3 different bodies. One is the executive board, which we talked about just now. Those 4 people are the elected body of the UPI. That's the executive board. Then there's an advisory board, which is not elected but nominated. And then there are the committees, which actually do most of the heavy lifting, the thinking, ideating, kind of direction for the UPI. And so we're trying to keep them independent, but in some sense, They're not actually. So the advisory board is independent. So the executive board meets the advisory board every 3 months. The advisory board is, and you'll see the people that are involved in these. The advisory board is supposed to read a report and ask questions, but they don't really have decision-making power because they're nominated. So they may influence decision-making by asking tough questions and trying to get the executive board to answer and explain why they're doing what they're doing and how they're doing it. Then there are the committees which are also nominated by and populated by volunteers. Some of you are on committees, and there are like 8 committees which deal with different aspects of UBI, and we'll go into that. Executive board, we just went over that, the 4 of us. Vivek, Meghna, just good now, but yeah, so she's around. But if you, yeah, so if you have questions for the executive board at any point, you can ask now too. But we'll be here for the next 2 days, and we're happy to talk to you. Then the new thing is, one of the new things that we did in 2019 is we hired 2 people. So Mrinalini, who's over there, hiding, and Sumesh, who's basically at a training camp. He's in Bangalore too, so you might bump into him. These are the only 2 employees of the UBI that are full-time and paid. And so we've managed to kind of make a system where we generate enough revenue to be able to pay them. And that's all thanks to you. It's coming from your membership dues, it's coming from some of the apparel that you buy, the discs that you buy, all of that goes into the run of the UBI. Sumesh and Minu, as we call her, are basically, they are doing pretty much 90% of the work that the UBI does. So the committees do some volunteer work, but the implementation of that work, the ideas, is done by these 2 people, right? So that's pretty new. The advisory board, like I said, there are 4 people in it. Veera, Jess, Vardhan, and Raju, you might know some of them. Veera and Raju, they actually live in San Francisco. Jess lives in Melbourne. Vardhan, he's stuck here, he's in Surat. So, but these 4 folks, we consider them to be senior, players with some experience, with some, and with also a lot of interest and enthusiasm about how the UBI works and runs. So that's the advisory board. And the committees, there are so many different committees. It's kind of confusing sometimes. There's competitions, there's communications, national teams, spirit of the game, governance, finance partnerships. Youth and development itself has got 3 committees, subcommittees, which is college and school and outreach / NGOs, and then there's coaching. So lots of people who are chairpersons in these committees. What's interesting is we are actually following AFDA's model to have more equal gender representation in these committees. And so we try to have a 50% match in gender in these committees. At least I think the chairpersons, it's working, but a lot of times we find women are dropping out of committees, and that's something that we're going to address during the conference. Try to figure that out, why. This is some more text, so I'll skip over that. It kind of tells us what the executive board does, what the committees are supposed to do, and the advisory board, both roles, which we kind of went over. The committee updates, the interesting part is what we've done in the last year. So the competitions committee, we talked about the national championship series. There are like 2 sets of numbers that I wanted to focus on. One is 3-1-1. So if you don't know what that is, that's okay. It's strange. But we have 3 sectionals and 1 regional and 1 national. That's our format. So everybody gets to play at least 5 tournaments. The other number that's significant is 92, 25, and 0. And I know doesn't make any sense. But 92, anybody want to guess what is 92? So 92 teams played in the national championship series, which is amazing, right? Previously in the national tour we had about 45 teams, so literally we had doubled the number of teams participating. They might have existed before, but they didn't participate in a national level, high quality tournament, and they've done that. So at least one tournament, 90 teams have played. 25 is the number of tournaments that we ran last year. So there were 7 sections. Each section had 3 sectionals, 21. And we had 2 South regionals and 1 North regional. I mean, basically, it happened at the same time in the North, Division 1 and Division 2. So that's 3 more tournaments, and then we had a massive nationals in Ahmedabad. So 25 tournaments, and zero spikes, no? So what is zero? Zero is we didn't take any money from any sponsor for running these 25 tournaments. It was all managed by you, by tournament directors and the community. We paid, it was totally self-contained, which is an amazing achievement in my opinion. So when we talk to sponsors now, we actually go to them and tell them, these are our different things that we do. And they're like, how do you run 25 tournaments? And we're like, we're self-contained. We don't really need your help for that. We need your help for sending teams to China or Japan. So that is actually a statement of solid accomplishment. So we can go and tell people that we're asking for help, but in a way, in a more equitable way. We're not like begging. We're going with a sense of, yeah, we can do this, but if you do this with us, we can offer you something. So that's how we're approaching it. So I think that's a pretty cool thing. Upcoming, with regards to more of the National Championship Series, is we're going to try to introduce the concept of single-gender tournaments. And some of you must have played in Sapat, which is a Bangalore-based single-gender tournament. Some of you might have played in the Oracle Kumaran Open, which is also single-gender. So we wanted to kind of integrate that into the National Championship Series, and we're working on it. The competitions committee is working on that. We're going to switch from 2 regions, North and South, to 3 regions, because we have a massive number of teams coming from the East, right? So, namely Assam. Assam is going to be, like, I'm going to repeat that forever, so during the next 2 days, but for good reason. So, the East region is going to probably have 36 teams coming from 1 district in Assam. And hopefully there'll be teams traveling from Bihar, West Bengal, and Jharkhand to Assam. Because there's no point in holding this in Calcutta and having 36 teams travel to Calcutta, right? So we're going to have it in Assam at the location where everybody plays there. And we're going to have invite teams from Calcutta to go there, from Jharkhand to go there, and Bihar, Patna to go there. Hopefully they would. Even if they didn't, I think the minimum number of teams that's going to be participating in the next National Championship Series, Season 2, will be 116. So, and that's pretty significant. So, it's a good thing. Then, about national teams, that's another big update coming up. The Fountainhead School, some of you have been there. The Fountainhead School is like a school in Surat where pretty much everybody plays Ultimate, including the headmaster, who's Vardhan, by the way. So, in Fountainhead School, it actually qualified in kind of like a informal school tournament that we have. So they came first in that, and that school is now going to represent India at the International School Federation Games, which is happening in France this year in June. So India's contingent or India's representation is Fountainhead School. So it's a 5-on-5 mixed gender tournament. So that's that. And what's coming up in 2020 is Worlds, and the Junior Worlds and regular Worlds and Old People's Worlds, all are happening. Masters Worlds, yes. And so we are having in 2020 in Sweden, it's going to be under 20 women that we're sending. So those of you who haven't applied, you should consider applying for coaching. You can't apply to be on the team, obviously. But coaching, managing, just generally want to be there for them, anything, I think that's exciting. It's going to be super, super cool. Then the regular WGC Worlds also happening. We're sending a mixed team. Masters Worlds is happening, and Sandra here, who's come all the way to, ask you guys to go there. So Sandra's husband is the tournament director, and they're already ready to receive people from all over the world. So it's happening in Gold Coast, the northeast coast of Australia, where everything is beautiful. So we should try to go there as well. So that's another mixed team that's going there. So 3 teams are heading out for next year, and selections are happening. We have amazingly, the biggest achievement is not sending 3 teams because we don't know if they're going to go or not. But we've announced tryout dates more than a year ahead, and that is a huge achievement, which I know is for the community is very difficult to plan if you have like a month's notice or 2 months notice, and a lot of us face big travel times, and so we're a big country, and so that is significant, and so that kind of shows like what the professionalism in managing the sport can do. We have 2 people like Sumesh and Mrinalini who are now working full time, and that these kind of things can happen and make it easy better for everybody. So then it's about partnership. This is addressing one of the things that JD was talking about. Partnerships, we have some significant partnerships on our way. One is Arya. So Arya is going to be, it is our disc partner. Those of you who have played in the National Championship Series, you have seen these UPI discs, which are made by Arya. They are not disc craft, but I don't know, some of you might feel the difference, but for the most part, not a thrower like me, you don't feel the difference. But I think they are pretty high quality discs. We have a short video which we'll show you at some point as to why Arya chose us and why we wanted to partner with Arya. They're a really cool company. It's just to give a quick background. Arya is founded by Zayden Titcom, and he is one of the 5 siblings that ran 5 Ultimate. So 5 Ultimate is a premier apparel company that's USAU's partner for apparel. And so Arya, it was featured in Scientific American. They went through like a really rigorous process of making discs. They wanted to make discs that you can huck and it'll go 2 football fields and all that. I don't know. I never hucked, so I don't know. But this is supposed to be a really cool disc. And the reason why we went with them is not because they're very good. Also, that is also one of the reasons. But the other reason is they're like a startup like us. They're also beginning. I think we can grow with them. And their vision is about growing Ultimate rather than making tons of money. I mean, they're going to do that too, but it's about helping communities. They've already funded many nonprofits in India, especially Bridging the Gaps. They were the official disc sponsor for Bridging the Gaps, and so they have done a lot already, and we felt like growing with them would be awesome, right? So that's Arya. The other interesting and exciting thing is Proline. Some of you might know about this company. Proline is one of the oldest apparel makers in India. Before we got to know about Under Armour and Nike and Puma, there was Proline. Can't be this young, so you won't know what Proline is. But Proline is a big brand, and what they're trying to do now is actually engage with sports companies and sportswear and that line of clothing. And they have actually agreed to be our national team apparel sponsor. Louder than this? Sorry if you can't hear me, but I'll try to be loud. So Proline, we are excited to have them on board, and they've agreed to outfit all our national teams for this year. And so it's a 1-year experimental contract. We'll see how it works out for us, how the apparel is for Frisbee, and they're going to figure out how Frisbee is for them. But it's good news that big companies are starting to look at Ultimate Frisbee as a sport and as an opportunity to increase their brand presence as well. Then there are lots of other updates which we will be covering in individual sessions. So we're going to have a state of the spirit of the game in India coming up soon that Kao and Chia will be talking about. We have a college ultimate panel that's happening tomorrow morning. School, Zen, you're talking today, right? Tomorrow, sorry. So Zen is going to be talking about some pretty cool stuff about school ultimate. we'll kind of see the future of School Ultimate, how it's going to grow. And then there will be the next talk is actually by Jenny Liang, who's over there. Jenny is the co-founder of that place in Assam that I keep talking to you about, and it's called the ANT. It's the Action Northeast Trust, and it's a massive NGO. They have done some amazing work, and she's going to be talking about how they have taken up Ultimate and made the most of it. And so the outreach and the NGO part of development will also be covered. Yeah, so that's basically covering all the committees. That's going to that makes up the UBI. Finally, and a few minutes only. So this is probably the most important thing that I have done as part of the executive board. Is last year when I went to, I was invited by the Australian Flying Disc Association to attend their conference to show us how they do it. And I met Sandra Poon, who's over there. She is a member of the AFDA Executive Board. She's on the board of directors, and she is also an independent consultant that develops strategy for big organizations. So she, as part of her directorial duties, she developed strategy for AFDA, and she ran a workshop there, and that I managed to attend, and I was completely blown away, hugely impressed by what she did in, I think, 4 to 6 hours. It didn't seem that long, but there was amazing progress, like from kind of, yeah, we do a lot of things to this is what we're going to do for the next 3 years. That's how quickly AFDA got that clarity in a day. Of course, it took more time than that to flesh it out. And then I immediately talked to Dan. Many of you know Dan, Coach Dan Rule, and now he's also one of the employees of AFDA. And I asked him, how do we get Sandra to come to India? And he was like, just ask her. And so I did. And she's like, I've never been to India. Like, it's great. So we invited her, and we have this awesome partnership with Australia, which is the AFDA-UTA partnership, which has a budget funded by AFDA. And they facilitate an exchange program every year. We had Carl go there 2 years ago as part of the Coaches Exchange. When we had Meghna go there the next year in 2018 as part of the women's 17 as part of the women's theme in gender theme in AFDA's conference. And last year it was governance that was their theme, and I had to go. And I think the best thing that came out of that was Sandra coming to India, because she ran the same workshop for us yesterday. It was super awesome. We had the EB, the operations team, the operations managers. We had state representatives from Karnataka and Delhi. We had the future candidates who are planning to stand for elections for the next EB, and the committee chairperson. So there was a representative from each committee. So about 20 people. We had Kumaran, who's a fan of Indian Ultimate and big supporter, who also joined us. And so we all sat together for about 6 hours. Yeah, 2 to 7:30. Yeah, and we came up with some strategic plan, which we think is going to be great, and we will share with the community soon. Just want to kind of show you some screenshots of Sandra doing her thing. And yeah, I've written facilitator extraordinaire here. Can't read it, but she was awesome. She was patient. She was, just made things so clear for us. And I don't know how to explain it without, going into too much detail. And I'm happy to talk to any of you about this process. Not an expert, but I can tell you what I remember from yesterday. Okay. And so we ended up, she kind of laid out the process. And what was cool was these 20 people that attended, we decided what was important for Indian Ultimate together. And she facilitated a nice process, a democratic process of finding out what our biggest priorities are. And we found out that the biggest priorities for Indian Ultimate for the next 3 to 5 years are long-term stability in financial management and sustainability, gender equity and inclusivity, and try to address the lack of resources and support that's existing right now. So these are the three big things that we're going to work on. And what we did after that was, once we identified these three things, Sandra kind of drove through another couple of processes which made us figure out finally what are the different projects that we can do that will make sure that we are addressing these three things. She challenged these three things with various scenarios. She made us play the roles of players, administrators, other sports persons like cricketers, and then NGOs and government officials and sponsors. So each of us kind of played different roles and tried to attack these three main goals, or not goals, the three main items that we're going to work on for the next 3 years. And it kind of stood that test, and we were actually quite surprised that we came up with this and it was pretty solid. At the end of the day, we kind of looked at, this is a chart that Sandra made at the beginning before we started. What do you think this success looks like for that particular strategic planning session? And at the end of the day, she kind of went through it and we got greens on everything. So pretty much ticked everything off, which was a good 6 hours well spent. Yeah. So thank you, Sandra, for making that happen. Obviously, this is all in like photographs and screenshots, which we will capture in more detail today, and we'll try to put that up on the website before the conference ends, or at least on Monday. So I don't know if you can read it, but it says "Ask me anything." So a few more minutes. Nobody wants to know. It's actually 10 o'clock, so we could take a short break while we try to fix the projector, and we'll get Jenny's stuff uploaded, and we can all move a little closer, maybe. Smita, we're good with me. So, any questions? Nobody's awake yet. Okay. All right. Cool. Let's take a quick break. Give us a few minutes. We'll get it set up, and we'll catch up soon. Yeah. Thank you.
Shows he says that he's the best person.
Should we?